What's poppin', y'all? I would have never thought that an interaction like this would spur into such an expose that ruined this lady's life just because she wanted to hit somebody with a gotcha moment and weaponize her audience to come after him. This all started from a clip at TwitchCon of N3on approaching this lady trying to invite people to a party that he was throwing later that night. I'm gonna play you guys this clip right now.
Hello, how you doing today? Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Emerone.
Hi.
Emerone.
Emerone.
Just call me M.
M.
Yes.
I am.
What's your name?
N3on.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
That's horrifying.
Real quick, Emerone. I'm doing a little after party.
Okay.
I would love for you to come.
Why?
Because you're very beautiful.
We gotta go.
I love being objectified.
Come on, let's go.
Wait, what did I do wrong?
Wait, what happened?
Objectified? Wait, what the f did I do? Hold on. Wait. It's always a fat friend, bro.
So once you see this, a lot of you are probably like, huh? What? Anyway, after that, the clip starts spreading on Twitter X, and then this lady is the first to go on Twitter and quote tweet it and say, chat, get his at. And then after that, N3on's audience, who is rabid, went like they've been tamed right now. They're like the pit bull that they got on whatever, not narcotics. What is it that they got that they put them on to keep them chilled out? That's what N3on's got his audience on right now because his audience wants to see him win, so they're not moving as mad as they used to. But this let them off the hook. And what ensued was absolute chaos, disaster. So even Asmongold, the biggest streamer on Twitch right now, especially like commentator-wise, he even came to N3on's defense here. Granted, Asmongold has been somebody that urged women in general that they should not be going to TwitchCon because of how unsafe of an environment it was, or it is, over a month ago, and people didn't listen to him. And well, actually, it's not that people didn't listen to him because like they shouldn't feel like they can't go to TwitchCon, especially if they're not scared. But with the event that happened to Emiru, which is some guy just like runs straight up to, or no, doesn't even run straight up to her, walks past all security and tries to kiss her and like hugs her and holds her, and the dude's a giant in comparison to her. A lot of people started thinking about this differently. So I'm gonna play you guys that clip of Asmongold right now.
Like, people say it's objectifying. Yeah, of course you're going to be attracted to the way a person looks. Like, what? Duh. Like, really? Duh. Of course people are going to think that. And so it's a compliment, get over it? Well, no, it's not even a compliment. It's that, again, I think that people like this make any sort of discourse around like acceptable behavior in public and flirtatious behavior in public. I think that they confuse it a lot. The fact is, like, if a guy comes up to you and he just says, hey, I think you're attractive, like, do you want to come to my party? And you say no, and he says, okay, like, okay, that's the end of it, right? Like, I mean, like, maybe you could say he should have talked to you more or something like that. But at the end of the day, like, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, and there are so many, and this is the other issue, right? Is that there are so many other instances of men that I think go over the line, men that are pushy, men.
I think the clip that he gave is quite reasonable. It's a reasonable take, but N3on would go on his alternate account and tweet the following: this world is cooked. I'm never giving a girl a compliment again. He's just exaggerating, obviously. He says, I just found out she's a cam girl with vids of toys in her behind, in her rear, and she draws the line at someone giving her a compliment, calling her beautiful. Am I getting trolled? And this led to her breaking down and tweeting what I'm saying right here is a bold-faced lie. So she went on after all of the backlash she got from this and arguing back and forth in the replies with strangers. Keep in mind, she was arguing with strangers in the replies of the Clippers tweet of the interaction of her and N3on. Not like she was replying to people in her mentions. She replied to every single person. That person's a little bit off their rocker, especially if they've been doing content for a while, which, well, according to this chick, she's probably been doing it for 10 plus years considering the other sites that she used to be on. But she goes and says the following: I didn't want to have to talk about this because it's incredibly difficult for me, and it was a very dark time in my life. When I was 17 and 18, I was in traffic by a convicted felon. I was isolated from my family and forced to do things I didn't want to do. I fear for my life daily. I nearly died on multiple occasions. I never wanted to have to talk about this because it's caused a lot of anxiety. It's really upsetting that this was brought up like this and that I have to relive the trauma and address it. Little update, I've been dreading talking about this for forever, but I knew it would probably get brought up eventually. A few of my close friends have known because it's unfortunately a big part of my life. We'll talk about it tomorrow on stream very briefly before going back to normal. And thank you to all my friends who've reached out and been incredibly supportive and kind. It is what it is. I'm still happy and positive. My life is much better and happier than it used to be, even if I had to go through a lot to get here. Hopefully, I can help others. This is the biggest crock of BS I've ever seen, man. The reason why I say that is because, so you're telling me this happened to you against your will and a convicted felon made you do this. She's Canadian. And keep in mind, the timeline here is incorrect. She's talking about 17, 18. This chick she's 31. This lady is 31 right now. So this lady would have been 24, 23, 24 at best. The lowest age she was 21 when she got on there. So she was 21 when she was on there. So she's already fudging up the ages. Why is she fudging up the ages? Because people are going to see her as more of a victim. She immediately started playing the victim role after being the aggressor towards N3on, digitally speaking. Because these Clippers are just going to do what the Clippers do. And she decided, oh, let me attack this guy. And this is also why this lady is a dumb bird brain, because when you've got skeletons like that in your closet, you shut up, you sit down, and you fall back. The last thing you want to do is go aggressive with anybody online, because then they're just going to dig up your past. And the past is, man, the amount of videos and photos, like her digital footprint is not it. And even her footprint on Twitch is not it. Like, a lot of people say that this chick, what she does is she just hops from streamer group. She farms the clout in that streamer group. She extracts, hops to a new streamer friend group, does the same thing, and continuously hops from streamer group to streamer group to streamer group. And the funny thing is, this all started with her using the word objectifying, when she was up there as a grown woman doing this to herself, shoving wands, staff, rods, any other figure you could probably think of up every crevice on her bare body that she could on camera for bread, and then trying to blame it on somebody else. And this chick she's not from a war-torn country. Like, she didn't come from Ukraine and then she ended up in like Switzerland or Germany, and somebody brought her there and they got her selling box, or they brought her here and they're holding her passport. No, she was in Canada. So she was in Canada, the US. Dog, if they went back 30 plus years, 40 plus years to arrest some people that Bill Cosby did some stuff to, this guy could be arrested. So we're not doing that. Did she go to the police? Because if what she's saying is true, this person is not getting away with it. Now, she's using these words because what happened is probably somebody convinced her to do it. Although, back then, I think it's unlikely, man. Because most guys did not even know that this was a business model. It was mostly girls doing it on their own. Especially the biggest chicks on cam back when she was doing this, like 2014, 2015. So if she lied about the age, and then she was talking about objectifying when she objectified herself for the majority of her career, and then now she's trying to put it in the past, this person is not to be trusted. But she continued and tweeted out even more and said, just to clear up a few things. One, thank you to everyone reaching out. I'm fine. They just don't know how to handle rejection, and it shows. Do you see? No accountability. No, there has not been a single ounce of accountability anywhere across this whole page. So she goes back and says, oh no, they don't know how to handle rejection. When she was the one, she didn't say, you know what? I shouldn't have brigaded my audience. That was messed up, but I think they took it too far. No, not even that. You could still play the victim whilst taking some accountability for initiating this back and forth online, but no, you didn't do that. Two, I thought he was a fan when he walked up. This is actually really funny because she talks about objectifying, and then she's like, yeah, dude, N3on looks just like all the other fans that come up to me that watch my stream. I think that is the biggest insult that N3on should have, is that when he walked up to her, she thought he was a fan of hers. I thought he was a fan when he walked up. I've never seen N3on's stuff before and didn't know who he was. Just saw the huge camera in my face. You can believe me or not. We don't. None of us do. Not a single soul. Honestly, feels good to finally say what happened to me. I had it bottled up for a long time, fearing what people would think. And while I won't talk about it much, because it's a lot. Maybe I can genuinely help people. No, you cannot help anyone but yourself. If you want to help people, go report to the police what that guy did to you. If he actually did that, and expose the guy. Why are you hiding the guy? Have a great day. Smiley face. Yeah, I'm not buying it, because she was also on the cam stuff with other chicks. So it wasn't just her and she's locked in some room. No, there were other chicks involved. And this is the thing too. My assumption, this is the assumption part, is that she was dating this guy and she's not dating him anymore. Like, for example, you remember Amaranth? When Amaranth went through that whole thing and she said, you know, like, all of this stuff, I'm forced to stay on live stream all day and grind and do OF and do all of this other stuff, and it's my husband that makes me do this. And everyone went and attacked. That's when her husband first got exposed, because she hid the fact, or they hid the fact, that she was married for a very long time until she got very, very famous and very, very rich, which it's understandable. That's what you're going to do in that type of a business. But what happened after that? She got back with her husband and they just kept screaming at each other, and eventually people stopped caring. And they're like, okay, that's just your relationship. But the point is, when she thought she was leaving him, she turned it into, oh, I'm a victim. He forced me to do this. I never wanted to do this. But now that she's with him, she's still doing that. So clearly, she was never forced. It's just the association with this guy. So this lady that interacted with N3on, she probably wanted to do this. She was with the guy. And then when they broke up and everything fell apart, now she's just going to remember him as the convicted felon that forced her to do this, because that serves her better now. She's not going to try to defend him or anything, because otherwise, why not expose the dude? Expose the dude, not even expose. You could take this to police, and because that's how you protect people and help other people. Because if he was doing that to you, then he would for sure be doing it to the next person and the next person after that. And are you not concerned with what happens to them? By the way, it's okay if you're not concerned with what happens to them. Just don't pretend like you care about what happens to other people. That's the whole secret to it. But there's even footage of her explaining the situation that she was in back then and how she got into it on cam, which I'm going to play you guys the audio of that right now.
It's been since September. I moved into university and then left there and went straight here. Actually, before I left my parents' place, I literally told them, I was like, after I leave, I am never moving home again, ever. And they're like, oh, okay, I don't believe you, but cool. But yeah, I officially did that, and I'm proud of myself. I didn't want to move back in. Like, I'm very independent. I have to have my own place and whatever. Why did I leave university? I didn't like my program. I was paying $8,000 to learn, be taught things that I already knew. And it didn't make sense to me.
Does that sound like somebody that was like, nah, you know, like me and this person came and I got dragged into it? And does it sound like somebody that doesn't know their story? Because if you're trying to make up a fake story, you might stumble here and there. You might misremember something. You might have to think about, like, no, wait, how was I supposed to remember the story I'm going to tell? Because I don't expect her to say that she's having a man in front of cam while she's working, quote unquote. But this story makes sense. This is what happened to, especially during that era, this is what happened to a lot of them. They found out about this. They said, oh, I can make a bunch of money. They're making a bunch of money. They didn't want to go to college anymore because they wanted to not just capitalize on the opportunity, but they felt like, why would I go there and pay? So what's the deal with that? She explained it here, but she probably doesn't remember any of this, and she doesn't think that this is going to be brought up. So no, I don't believe the situation that she is claiming. However, I do think it is the right move for her career. To play victim and to say that she was forced into doing that, it keeps her on this pedestal that her viewers will idealize her by, viewers who are mostly male, and she's going to make a lot of bready bread this week. I would say this next 3 to 5 days is probably the most that she's going to have made in the past 30. It might make more than the past 30. And to that I say good for her, because, I mean, these suckers are just going to throw bread at her because they're going to believe whatever story she sells them, and she can thank N3on for blessing her, I guess, with this controversy. Although I think she wanted this stuff to stay under wraps, but I cannot feel bad. When you are at a disadvantageous position with a past like that, you need to hold back. You either need to make sure it's scrubbed, and then maybe you can talk that talk, which you still shouldn't, but you cannot be talking that talk knowing that's down there or that's out there. So yeah, she has to hold this L. I'm not believing her story. Her story has no validity or merit to it whatsoever. Like, there are other chicks that may have happened to. However, I think they would be too terrified to even mention it because they're in other other countries, they speak other languages, and they might actually get thrown into a meat grinder. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.